Hello everybody and welcome to Buttered Gaming. I'm Buttered Toast III and today I'm going to be showing off another one of my decks for you. You may notice that it is indeed a blue-red, and as you may have noticed from the title, it does focus a lot on +1/+1 counters. So first of all, with our lands here, we have 16 islands and 10 mountains. And then also real quick before we start, I just have, oops, sorry, I knocked the camera there a little bit. I have 4 boar tokens just because there is 2 Curse of the Swine in this deck, which I will show you later. And if you don't know what Curse of the Swine does, you will when I look at it, and the tokens will make more sense. Alright, so let's start with, let's put those over here, our artifacts, and there's only 1 artifact in here, but there is 2 of them. And it is the Witch's Eye, and you pay 1 to put it on the field, and you can equip it to a creature, and then with 1 more mana. So you can, the creature then has pay 1 and tap it to scry 1, which is nice in this deck. I just had these, I drew these out of some packs that I had, and I had them, and I put them in because there's a lot of scry in this deck too, actually, which is a lot more helpful than I thought it was going to be originally when I got got the deck. But hey, there it is, and I don't know, this is good for putting on like an Omen Speaker or something that's like really weak, that doesn't really have much other use. Alright, so at any rate, let's look at our blues next. So here's our blue cards, and we'll start off with 1 Aqueous Form. It's a 1-drop to enchant a creature. It can't be blocked, and whenever it attacks, you get to scry 1. So again, it's nice for scrying, and then also, it's only a 1-drop for an unblockable creature, which is pretty nice just by itself. Alright, next up, we've got 2 Archaeomancers. So Archaeomancers are 4-drop for a 1/2, but the thing with the Archaeomancers is when you put them on the battlefield, you can return a target instance or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand, which is nice in this deck because there's a lot of control, kind of. Stuff like Griptide and all that kind of stuff, so you put a lot of creatures back into their hand or onto the top of their deck, so this will get you another one of those you can use, so those are nice too. They are a little bit expensive mana-wise, though. Alright, next up we've got Curse of the Swine. We got 2 of those. This is what I mentioned before for the boar tokens over here. And it's a 2-island X drop, and you get to exile X target creatures. For each creature exiled this way, its controller puts a 2/2 green boar creature token on the battlefield, so that's what those are for. Those are nice for if the opponent has some big creatures. Again, it's control, so you're getting rid of their big giant creatures, and you are trading them for a 2/2 boar, but you just gotta look at if it's worth it, which sometimes it is, especially if they have like a real big creature on the field. Alright, next we've got 1 Disperse, and it's a 2-drop to return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So again, control, returning stuff to its hand. Oh shoot. I messed up at the beginning, I'm really sorry. This deck isn't +1/+1 counters. Wow, I don't know what I was thinking. It's Monstrosity. I was trying to say there when I realized my mistake that the control for like returning stuff to owners' hands and such, that's for kind of stalling out until you can get a really big creature with your Monstrosity, which if you know anything about monstrosities, I'm sorry, it does take quite a bit of mana for that. So anyway, next card we have here is a Griptide, and we have 3 of them, as you may notice. And it's a 4-drop to put the target creature on top of its owner's library. So again, control. We don't want to die too soon, so there it is. Alright, next card. We actually have a creature. So it's a Horizon Scholar for a 6-drop for 4/4 flying, which is a little expensive. But then when it enters the battlefield, you get to scry 2. So again, you get to scry, and then you also have a 4/4 flying, so it's alright. Alright, next we have Lost in the Labyrinth, a 1-drop for a target creature getting -3/-0, I'm sorry, until end of turn, and then you also get to scry 1. And again, scrying, as I said, there's a bunch of scrying in this deck, so Also, the -3, -0, it does help for if you're being attacked and you don't want to block. It can either get rid of all of the power or just make it negligible, usually. So that's pretty nice. Or if you just really want to scry, you can just use it. I don't know. So at any rate, next we have 3 Omen Speakers. So again, scrying, but it's a 2-drop for a 1/3, and when it enters the battlefield, you get to scry 2. It's not that great of a card, but again, you get to scry 2, and then it's also a 1/3 that you can use to block to try to wait for some better cards. Next, we've got a Prognostic Sphinx, which is a 5-drop for a 3/5 flying, and you can discard a card and he gains hexproof until end of turn, and then you have to tap it, so you can't give him hexproof and then have him attack. I'm not sure if that means that you can't use the ability if it's already tapped, but you'd have to look that up, not really sure. But at any rate, also, whenever it attacks, you get to scry 3, which is really nice, especially for this deck, because you get a 5-drop, 3/5 flying, and then you also get to scry 3 whenever it attacks. Attacking every turn may not be so helpful with that, because you just see 2 cards, but I guess then you can rearrange them if you see a new one that you really like, that you want to get. Or you can rearrange them, based on your situation. Alright, next we've got a Sea God's Revenge, which is a 6-drop to return up to 3 target creatures your opponents control to their owner's hand, and then you also get to scry 1. So you get to return 3 creatures. So again, control, you get to return cards, which is nice because then they have to wait, depending on the mana cost of the cards, 2 or 3 turns to get all of those cards back out on the field. And then you also get to scry 1, so again, scry. Okay, next we've got Sealock Monsters, and now we finally see our first Monstrosity card. And it's a 5-drop for a 5/5. Not too bad, I guess. And when I'm sorry, I messed that up a little bit. It cannot attack unless the defending player controls an island. So I mean, if it's not monstrous, that's not so great, but then you can also pay 7 to Monstrosity 3, meaning that you can put 3 +1/+1 counters on it, so it's an 8/8 now. And when it becomes monstrous, target land becomes an island in addition to its other types, so then suddenly you can attack. So if you're fighting another blue deck, you can attack right away, but otherwise you just have to wait till it's monstrous, which isn't too bad, I guess, because you can just use it to block, and it's a 5/5, so it's not too bad. Alright, next we've got a Shipbreaker Kraken, and as you'll notice, it's a little foil. There we go, you can kind of see it there. And it's a 6-drop for a 6/6, which isn't too bad, I guess. Then you can also pay 8 to Monstrosity 4, so then it's a 10/10, which isn't that bad. Especially since if you have 6 mana on the field, you only need 2 more mana to monstrous it. And then when it becomes monstrous, tap up to 4 target creatures. Those creatures don't untap during their controller's untap steps for as long as you control Shipbreaker Kraken. So again, more control. I mean, it's a little late now, but it does allow you to just walk right past all their cards, which is pretty nice. Well, not all of them, I guess, if they put another card after you get that on the field, but it does help a lot. Alright, so next we have a Voyage's End, which is a 2-drop to return target creature to its owner's hand, and then you also get to scry. So again, more control, and then you also get to scry, which is nice. Alright, so that's it for the blues. Now let's look at our reds. As you see, there are a little bit less reds than there are blues. And first off, I'd like to take a look at Flamespeaker Adept, which is a 3-drop for a 2/3, and then whenever you scry, it gets +2/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. So again, that's one reason to have all the scry, and I think I do need to get more of these, because as you'll notice, I only have 1 in the deck. That would be helpful because it is a 4/3 at that point after you scry, so that's not too bad, and it's only 3 mana to put on the field. So, probably get more of those. Alright, next we've got a couple Ill-Tempered Cyclopses, and I'm not sure if that's the plural for Cyclops, but we're going to go with it. So it's a 4-drop for a 3/3, which is but it also has Trample, and then you can pay 6 for a Monstrosity 3. And it's then a 6/6 with Trample for, ton of mana. I don't even know, but it's okay, especially since Monstrosity mechanic. There it is. And then the Scry also, if you're wondering, oh, how do you get all the mana? The Scry does help you get some mana because you can Scry, and if you really need mana, you can be, oh, it's not mana, I'm going to put it on the bottom of the deck and see if I can get some more mana. So next we have a couple Magma Jets. It's a 2-drop for 2 damage to target creature or player, and then you also get to Scry. So I should maybe get some more of these as well, because you get to Scry and also do 2 damage for 2 mana, which isn't that bad, especially if you have that Flame Speaker Adept on the field. So that's a little bit of burn, so it does help a little bit with waiting, or you can just smack the player if you really need to. Waiting for mana to get, more. So at any rate, Portent of Betrayal is next, and it's a 4-drop to gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn, and then you also get to Scry 1. So again, you can kind of control your opponent, take their creature for a turn, attack with it, attack them, and you can also Scry. So again, Flame Speaker Adept if you have it on the field, or just getting mana or whatever. Scry is very prominent in this deck if you haven't noticed already. Alright, next we have a couple Rage of Perforuses, and they are a 6-drop for 4 damage to target creature, and it cannot be regenerated, and then you also get to Scry 1. So again, that's pretty nice. More Scry. 4 damage to target creature. It's a little bit expensive at 5 mana, but it's not too bad. Alright, next we have Spark Jolt, and this isn't the greatest card ever. It's 1-drop for 1 damage to target creature or player, and then you also get to Scry 1, so it's not that great, but I mean, it is Scry, and it is 1 damage, and at the worst case scenario, you can use it to tie one of your opponent's creatures. You can attack and they'll block, and then you can use this to kind of take it out the rest of the way if you really need to. Again, there's only 1 in the deck, so that card might be a little iffy, but hey. Alright, next we've got a Stone Shock Giant, and that's a 5-drop for a 5/4, which isn't bad at all. Well, it's okay, I guess. Anyway, you can pay 8 then to Monstrosity 3, so it would be an 8/7, which is pretty decent, and then when it becomes monstrous creatures without flying, your opponent's control can't block this turn, so you can attack, and a lot of the time they don't really have flying creatures, so you can attack, and usually you just walk right through them, but if they do have a flying creature, it's a 8/7, so I mean, if they block, it's probably dead. Alright, last card in the deck. We have a Volcanic Geyser, which is a 2-drop, X-drop. That didn't make any sense. 2X. Anyway. Volcanic Geyser deals X damage to target creature or player. And that's alright. So again, this gives you some room for killing their creatures. And hey, just killing creatures. So anyway, that's it for the deck. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope I gave you some ideas. Maybe you just wanted to like see it. There's the deck again. It's a 60-card deck. So thank you very much for watching, and come again next time. Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, you can click on the box at the top to see the previously uploaded video, or you can click on the box in the bottom to see the previously uploaded video in this playlist if you haven't already seen it. Thanks again.